Great.
Hello, everybody. Can everybody hear me? Excellent. Okay, so we're just going to give it another couple of minutes for everybody to join. We're just a little bit past 6. So just give us a minute. Thank you so much. I just also want to let you know while we're waiting that there have been people that asked that we record this meeting so that we can share it. So the meeting is being recorded and we are going to share it for those who couldn't attend this evening. So just so you know, we are recording. One more minute so everybody has a chance to get online. All right. Thank you for being here. Welcome to this information session. My name is Joy, and I want to acknowledge that I'm coming to you from the Tsleil-Waututh, Squamish, and Musqueam territories, where I work, play, and live. I'll be moderating this call this evening. I want to very first acknowledge that this is a very difficult time for you. We understand the emotion and the frustration in hearing the news of the last couple of days, and the purpose of this meeting today is to hear a little bit more information about the transition and answer questions. Our agenda is that you're going to hear from Gary Murin, who's the Executive Vice President of Operations for EdgeCai, who you've received your notes from. We've already received a lot of questions via email from all of you, and thank you for that. It's been a really important couple of days for us to gather those questions, hear from you, understand your concerns, and we want to answer those questions right off the top. Our agenda is going to be very, I think, quick this evening in the sense that we're not going to spend a lot of time talking at you. What we want to do is answer questions. So there's going to be some brief remarks from Gary. And then we have put all the questions together in groupings, and we're going to answer those. We're going to answer as many as we can. And then if we have additional time, we'll open the line and we'll take more questions from you. Important to know that the email that we've established is going to stay live for the length of this transition. So you are able to email questions anytime you wish. And any questions that you put in the chat this evening, we're going to save all of those and we will email the responses to those as well. It's a respectful environment, and we ask that you allow others to speak collegially. Gary's going to speak for a bit and answer a lot of the questions. So we just want to make sure that we have a respectful environment. So I think without any further ado, I'm just going to turn it over to Gary, and he will start with a few remarks.
Thank you, Joy. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I want to acknowledge that I'm speaking to you this evening from the Squamish Nation's village of Capilano. I'm just going to make a few brief remarks before we get into the Q&A portion, and that we can go through that together. I have spoken to many of you in the past couple of days, and I'm very sorry for the anxiety this has caused. And I understand that we are coming up to Christmas, and no one wants to be talking about significant changes in their lives at this time. For some context and background, EdgeCai business operations team, which oversees the management of Mosquito Creek Marina, contracted a private marine inspection company to conduct a condition assessment of the marina. This was so that we can assess and plan the repairs and our budgets for 2024. Unfortunately, the professional assessment which we recently received resulted in clear conclusion that the Mosquito Creek Marina docks and other components has reached the end of life. As many of you know, Mosquito Creek Marina has been in service for over 50 years. And that's a long time for a marina, especially a timber marina, to be in service. We received this information a few weeks ago from the surveying company and the engineer, and we understood the severity of the situation. First, we knew we had to make some emergency repairs. And secondly, we wanted to provide you with a maximum amount of time to process, plan, and understand the transition that we are asking of you. We understand that this news is having a significant impact on your community. Now that we have a more fulsome understanding of the reliance of many community members have on the docks for primary housing and the full impact on you, we have spent some time reviewing the process and hopefully coming up with their thoughts around this. In response to new information about the people currently living on the boats and the boat sheds as primary residents, we will be working directly with these residents to explore viable options for their homes. While we are currently unsure of what those options may entail, we can assure these residents they will not find themselves without a place to live in come the 31st of May 2024. This is our commitment to our full-time residents at Mosquito Creek Marina. In the coming weeks, we will be working closely with you, our residents affected, to minimize the impact of the dock closures and the emergency repairs that will happen immediately. We continue to deeply be committed to your safety and your assets at the Mosquito Creek Marina. Thank you, Joy.
Thank you, Gary. So as I said at the start, we have a lot of questions that have already come in. So what we propose is tackle those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just read off the questions, and then Gary's going to answer them. And then you can, make notes if we don't address something that you feel that you wrote in. We've basically taken every single question that we've received and just put them in a document, and we're going to answer them for you. So hopefully we cover everything. We have until 7 o'clock this evening. I just want to make sure that we maintain time, because I know that everyone's got things to do. This is extremely important. But we also have a Q&A function, so please feel free in above where you are on the screen. You can look up and there is a Q&A function. You can see it says Q&A. You can click that, and in there you can enter your question. And then if we have time at the end, we'll go through that. If for some reason we don't, all of those will be gathered and saved, and we will address them. So no question will go unanswered. Okay. So I just want to make sure you know that. Okay, Gary, you ready?
Yep.
All right, let's go. Okay, so first up is, why are you doing this now?
Inchikai business operations team was engaged by the Squamish Nation to oversee Mosquito Creek Marina. As a component of the management function, Mosquito Creek Marina contracted an independent professional private marine inspection company to conduct a condition assessment of the marina. And so we could assess and plan and budget for repairs and capital repairs for 2024. Unfortunately, the professional assessment, which was finalized in November, resulted in a clear conclusion that Mosquito Creek Marina docks and other components have reached their functional end of life. The Mosquito Creek Marina has been in service for over 50 years. When Inchikai business operations understood the severity of the situation, we wanted to provide our tenants with a maximum feasible period of time to make the necessary arrangements for the removal of any affected tenant's property. We understand that the news will be difficult for some time, especially for those moored at Mosquito Creek Marina for many years. But safety is our number one top priority, and the implementation of these critical repairs is an immediate necessity.
Okay, Can you also, Gary, answer how long you've known?
We've received the final report in November, and then the company that did the marina assessment shared that information with us, and including the need for some critical repairs to take place over the next month, and stabilize the docks for the coming winter season and the big winds that's coming up. Upon receiving this information and resulting conclusions on the necessary actions and balancing the importance of the relationships with the marina tenants, with the urgency of the relevant safety concerns, we decided to issue this notice with the tenant memo as quickly as possible. We value our relationship with the Mosquito Creek tenants and wanted to provide the affected marina tenants with a maximum feasible period to plan. All tenants affected by the Mosquito Creek docks will vacate their mortgages by the 31st of May 2024, which is approximately 6 months away. We will work with the tenants affected by the emergency repairs, for example, Dock C in the southern end, to ensure that they have place to safely secure the vessels while the repairs take place. The tenants affected by the immediate emergency repairs and relocations will also be subject to the same requirements to vacate the 31st of May of next year.
Okay. So with the assessment, Gary, what did the condition assessment entail? I know this is going to be a little bit technical, but that's a question that people wanted to understand.
Well, when HKI engaged the consultant with the team, we certainly seeked, we're in Vancouver and there's a number of marine organizations, and we sought who we felt had the best professional credentials in the marine inspection and to carry out the condition assessment and to provide professional engineering support and to help us determine a path forward. These consultants were contracted to perform above and below water visual inspections of, we've got more than 200 timber mooring piles, 90 mooring steel piles. We have 3 concrete gangway landings, 1 timber gangway, 5 landing and gangways, 1 steel concrete travel lift structure, 350 float connections, a floating breakwater that consists of 3 steel barges, anchor chains. Additionally, they were engaged to perform a detailed above below water condition assessment of the float billets, the float connections, and the approaches. The condition assessment included the topside elements and railings, guardrails, deck and safety ladders. Also looked at the superstructures elements, for example, the pile caps, stringers, and billets, and the substructure elements, the piles, the bracing, and the anchor chains. An ultrasonic thickness survey on the steel mooring landings and the travel lift piles with quantity and extent of section loss was also conducted.
Okay. And so what were the findings?
As we shared with our tenants on the memo in December 5, the regional floats and mooring systems of the marina along docks number B, C, D, E, G, H, and I, and a portion of dock A, the fuel dock, and the approach of the southern end of the Jerry Kanaka Nahani Way were found to have reached the end of their service life with widespread severe deterioration. I'll quote some of the feedback from the document we received from the engineer. It says, although extensive repairs were observed, the state of decay is as such that repairs are failing and there is little or no section remaining to undertake and consider further repair options. Credit should be given to the maintenance staff. However, the assets are no longer considered feasible for repairs. So as an organization, and we had to respect and understand the findings of the professional team. Identified safety concerns, particularly entering the stormy winter months, with a section marked as the emergency repair on the map, and strongly recommend that we take immediate remedial action to secure these docks. So that really at the south end of the sea dock, and that is severe. So we have to immediately, and work will start pretty soon on that.
Right. Okay. Some people have read that you're going to evict float homes as well. Is that true? Is this affecting float homes?
No, and it's certainly not the intent. There's no plan to remove the float homes from the marina. The requirement to vacate Mosquito Creek Marina does not affect tenants in the Mosquito Creek Marina float homes who may safely remain in their mortgages for the foreseeable future. There will be some movement around in the future. We will take some action to repair and reorganize some of the docks that currently permitted liveaboard tenants, boats, or people live on their boats, and they will not be affected by May 31st, 2024 departure date.
Okay. We had a question about the nation's canoe shed. We know that there's going to be some the work won't impact the Squamish Nation's canoe shed. So I'm going to skip to our next question, which is how imminent is the danger, and should I be concerned about my assets?
Yes, that's a strong question, and that really is motivating our action. There is a need for some critical repairs to be implemented over the next month to endeavor to ensure that the Mosquito Creek Marina docks are stabilized for the coming winter season. We know the winds are stronger these days. The emergency repairs and Dock C, the southern end, will occur immediately to ensure that those docks are safe for the next few months. We will keep our tenants informed, and the work will ensure that the safety and security of the tenants and the assets until May 31st departure for the affected tenants.
Okay. So a lot of people have asked this question. Are you going to help them find a new mortgage?
Absolutely. We're going to do the best we can. Contacted other marinas to advise them of Mosquito Creek Marina's current situation and the required scheduled closure. We understand that other marinas are on standby to endeavor the support affected with Mosquito Creek Marina tenants in finding new homes for boats or sheds as soon as possible, and to the extent they may have capacity. We strongly suggest that the affected Mosquito Creek Marina tenants begin search and relocating efforts as soon as possible, which is why we have endeavored to provide as much time as possible and process as feasible. Mosquito Creek Marina cannot realistically assure affected tenants of alternative available moorage and opportunities at this time.
Okay. So people live on their boat, they live on their boat shed. You've talked a little bit about that today in a statement released. Where are they going to go? What's the plan?
Again, we deeply regret having to take these necessary and urgent actions to endeavor to ensure the safe environment for our valued tenants and their property. The public and marina tenant safety is and continues to be our highest priority. We are focused on addressing the practical realities which we face as a result of the information we have recently received on the age of the condition of the marina. So in addition to ensuring the present locations of the floating homes, Mosquito Creek Marina will also take action to repair and reorganize some of the docks so no currently permitted liveaboard tenants in boats or boat sheds will be affected by the 31st of May, which means that We will secure docks. We will have to move people around. There will be a bit of disruption, but nobody living in the marina will have to leave the marina by May 31st.
So no one will be displaced.
No one will be displaced. Inside the marina, they will be moved around, but nobody will be displaced.
Okay. So some folks have paid an annual lump fee for their mortgage or their mortgage fee. Will it be refunded?
Yes, we've got no intention of keeping people's money. So those who paid in advance and they leave earlier, they will certainly be prorated and receive the money back.
Okay. We just paid a transfer fee to keep our boat shed house here. Can we get the $10,000 transfer fee refunded?
We will review all recent transfer fees and determine suitable adjustments. We ask that any affected tenants please get in touch with the marina general manager and the staff there. Absolutely.
Okay. So question that came from a few people. Are you doing this to get rid of older boats and tenants?
No, Mosquito Creek Marina can assure you that the announced actions are based on unexpected and urgent necessities and not to evict or to replace any of the existing tenants. The actions and the repairs which we have announced are necessary for the tenant and the environmental safety. Again, as I've said a few times, this is hard on us too. We deeply regret having to necessary actions to ensure the safe environment for the and their property. The safety of everybody and the marina itself and the tenants is and their property is our number one priority.
Okay. So can't you just fix docks?
Again, that is also contemplated. The company that did the inspection, when they conducted the condition assessment of the marina, they advised that the docks have reached their end of life and their functional life and urgently need to be replaced. So for the coming weather. However, the Squamish Nation face an urgent situation and emergency repairs will be made. However, it is apparent that the additional major repairs and replacement of many of the components of the marina docks and the facilities are simply not financially feasible for the marina or to the Squamish Nation. As a result, the planning work will begin in January to develop an extensive rehabilitation and redevelopment plans. However, May 31st departure date will still affect the majority of the tenant that remains. Again, just to remember, the marina is 50 years old. A lot of things have changed, and it's simply not that easy to take out what's there and just replace it as it is. We have to do a comprehensive assessment, engineering, and have developers to see what is the best solution for the Mosquito Creek Marina. So it's not viable and it's not practical and it's to some degree not possible just to take a section out and to replace it again.
Right. So when we look at future plans, obviously people have been asking like what's coming up. So are you doing this to build a new marina?
Again, that's not the reason why we're doing it. The business operations team and the nation are dealing with the investigations and recommendations of the independent feedback we got. Their findings determine that the urgent condition and the situation exists and emergency repairs must be made immediately. So no, it's not. The goal was not to remove everybody and to build a new marina. It's apparent that additional major repairs and the replacement of many of the components and the facilities is simply not financially viable. Separately, planning work will begin in January to develop an extensive, as I mentioned. So that's not the intent to build. We don't know what it's going to look like in the future. but the intent was not to remove people so we can build a new marina.
All right. And it's not a plan to just bring in more floor homes that you can sell?
No, and I had the opportunity to read some of the emails of people who suggesting that and are concerned about that. We do not have a plan for the marina beyond safety of the people and environment today. We really don't. We recently received the findings and the recommendations, and the majority of the docks and the marina components, it's at end of life. There's no way around that. We did decide to take the prompt action to allow people to process, but we can assure you that there is no definitive plan in place at this time for the future of Mosquito Creek Marina. I do want to stress, when we received the information, we did not want to sit on this information and then start developing a new plan. And that's part of the short notice and the immediate notice, and why it would certainly appear, and that's the fact that we don't have a plan going forward. We have to take care of our immediate need, which is the immediate repairs and everything we've discussed up to now.
Okay. Few people have asked, can I be put on a waiting list for the new marina?
Again, we have not developed a conceptual or any detailed plans for the new developments of the marina. There has been no determination of whether the site will include a new marina. Again, it's very early, and we have to start this review in the early in the next year. Accordingly, there's no waiting list for any possible new marina, so we don't want to create unreasonable, unrealistic expectations either. Following the implementation of the emergency repairs, we expect a long-range planning will begin, and to develop an extensive rehabilitation and a possible redevelopment plans of the marina.
Okay. And we had a lot of people ask behind the decision. Is it a government closure? Which governing body is heading up this whole situation? Can you answer that?
Yes, I've received a number of assumptions people had around who's behind this. This is not a government initiative. The assessment was initiated by Enchikai Business Operations, my team. Enchikai Business Operations team will oversee the Mosquito Creek Marina, contracted an independent private professional marine surveying inspection company, and the condition assessment, and so we can assess the repairs. That was the goal and the motivation of this. Again, unfortunately, the feedback we got was not ideal, and as with everyone around the table, we were disappointed and shocked at the condition of the marina, and that is at the functional end of life.
Many have asked, can the tenants, residents, can they do their own assessment?
So the marina is owned by the Squamish Nation and currently managed by Enchikai Business Operations. It is their responsibility to conduct assessments of the Squamish Nation's lands and its assets. An independent, as I've mentioned a few times, have been conducted, and we have full trust in the assessment as it was reviewed and double-checked by engineering company. So we have a lot of faith in the information that we have in front of us.
All right. And then folks are asking if they can access the report.
Again, it's a professional report, and the professional company that conducted the assessment. The findings in that assessment are critical to the marina and the future plans of the marina site. With respect to the marina, we'll not expect to provide the independent professional assessment to outside parties. If affected tenants have specific questions in connection with the condition of the marina assessment, again, Marina will consider such inquiries.
Okay.
I think that is the
Mhm.
list of questions we've had.
Yeah.
I do want to stress that, again, we did the assessment to determine, we knew there were repairs to be done. We didn't know the extent. And we did the assessment. We did it professionally to plan and budget for repairs. That's not the case. There's a number of people that's being affected. Those people who have the marina as their home, the tenants in the float homes, and people who live on their boats, people who live in their boat sheds, they will be accommodated in the marina with some work, and we will unsettle their lives probably as we have to move them around to where it's safe. In the next couple of weeks, we will certainly connect in smaller groups to discuss specific work we have done to see how we can support the residents and the tenants going forward. Yep, so at this point, I want to thank everyone for coming and for their patience and respect and asking all these questions as it pertains to their lives.
All right. So we have a few questions in the Q&A, Gary, that we're going to take on. So I'm just going to go from sort of the first through, and we'll try and make our way through them. Some of them have been answered, but I just want to acknowledge that we see them and we're going to touch on them so that, you know, we have a give you a response. And many of these are anonymous, so I apologize, I can't say who they're from. So when you say primary residences won't be homeless, does this mean you will be moving us to another marina?
No. So the people whose primary residence is in Mosquito Creek, we will look at the docks that needs the least work, and we will repair that. We will have to move people around, but the intention is not to move people who live in the marina away from Mosquito Creek Marina.
Okay. I think we've answered this. Given the decision has been made suddenly and we have to start looking for solutions, will you refund mortgage fees of those who leave well before the deadline?
Yes. Again, we will reward people, or we will refund them for the lump sums they have provided us. They need the money back. There's no reason for us to keep the money, right? Have no purpose for that. So yes, we will refund them what they've paid in and that they're not getting that service from us.
Okay. I see a few hands up. So I'm going to go to, I think the first hand that was up was Jeff.
Hello,
Jeff?
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Thank you for allowing us to speak. And we just wanted to express our overall concern and first of all allowing this conversation to happen. And you know, we are parents to young children living in the marina. We've been here for a long time, and we just, more than anything, we're looking for reassurance from NSHCI that, and I know Gary has said it already, but it's very important for us to hear it maybe again and again, that we are safe within Mosquito Creek Marina. And when I say we, I don't mean just Sasha and I and our kids, but
the community,
all the people who both live here permanently and also make this their home in the summertime. There are lots of what quote unquote recreational boaters who spend their entire summers here because the community is such a fantastic place to be. And we understand that there will be some movement and accommodations made that may not be within the marina for short-term periods, but long-term, we're also wondering what's going to happen to everyone.
Yeah, I think something to note too, like some of the boaters who don't live here all the time, specifically one that I know, V, she works with mental health for youth locally here and goes up north and works in remote communities for Native American mental health for youth, and just such a great pillar in this community. And because she is not a permanent resident here, would someone like that be moved and kicked out or like moved somewhere else? Because I don't think that's fair either. As much as we're just a big community of people, no matter if you're here one day a year or every day.
Right.
Thanks,
So-
thanks, Jeff. Gary, can you give us an answer to that?
I can do my best, as I've had the nice calls with Jess and Sasha earlier this morning, and that was pleasant. Nice to see you guys actually. The challenge we have is that we know the float homes and where we are going to move people to right now, that we can secure. We cannot make any commitment after the full assessment has been made. So if people live there, if that's their primary residence and they live there, we will commit, as we said, that they will not be homeless and they will not lose their property. For the people that's there, the long-term plan, I cannot commit to anything. We're not going to wait 6 months and then surprise you with a plan. The research and looking at what the marina can offer will start in January, and we will then look at what the long-term plan will be for the marina. But if that's their primary residence, we will take care of them.
Okay, thank you. Ginger, I know you've had your hand up for a long time as well. Are you there?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Thank you for allowing us to speak. I'll say that the recent changes that we've seen with folks being told that if you live here permanently, you're not going to be evicted and made homeless, I think that shows that we're moving in a better direction. However, a lot of us have that's tied up in this marina. We pay very high mortgage fees to be in this marina. It's not our fault that the marina has allowed to degrade to the point where it's no longer safe. We want some assurance that those boaters who want to keep their assets here, that will be an option, that docks will be replaced, that boats will be allowed to stay. For people who are boat shed owners who don't have them as primary residences, I mean, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars in personal assets that are just going to disappear, right? And so we're trying to comprehend how our assets are being brought into your equations for who gets to stay and who gets to go. Also, I will point out that our community here is really driven to help find solutions, right? We are looking at offering our own personal selves as labor. We have been talking about offering additional monies on top of the mortgage fees that we pay, so that we can help, bring in more docks, so that we all get to stay, right? So please don't forget that we are willing to help physically, and we are also able to help financially, so that we all get to stay, whether we live here permanently or, as Sasha mentioned, we rely on our vessels in the marina and our boat sheds in the marina, because this is our community. This is where we go to after our hard day's work.
Thank you, Ginger. Gary, do you want to respond to that?
Yes, and again, nice to see you as well, Ginger. And I've had a link too. Again, it's not a commitment I can make until such time we've condition of the marina and how we will proceed going forward. The commitment is that we recognize in the Vancouver Canadian market the difficulty of securing homes. So that's number one priority. We reach the point and conclusion that we do not want to have anybody homeless, and that's where our effort will focus. Beyond that, when we have the necessary professionals to look at the marina and come back with patients and their reports, we will have groups and we will have participation from residents there. You understand what's going on there. So we will absolutely engage that. It's just very early in the stage to answer. We did not to go and explore what it will look like. That's what we will do in the next couple of months, because our primary safety was we had the feedback and we had to communicate. We did not want to sit on that information, which is disingenuous, and that's not our company's values. And secondly, we are by nature collaborative, and we will get from that point going forward. But for me to make any knowing what the condition under the water is, what the future looks like, there's so many things we have to consider, Ginger. So I cannot make that commitment point. Neither way, I can't say it will never happen. I can't say it will happen until we have a full recommendation and feedback from the various professionals in their field to give us feedback.
Okay, thank you, Gary. You've had your hand up for a while. Are you there, Michael? Nope. Oh, there you are. There you go.
I believe Michael's mic has been enabled.
Yeah, Michael, you just have to unmute yourself. Maybe not.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
Let's go to Paul. I see has had a hand up for a while. Let me just unmute here or allow the mic. And then I think, Paul, you'll need to just unmute yourself. All right, Paul, we're ready for you. Are you still there, Paul? Oh, I think we might have you. Are you there, Paul?
You just have to talk.
Okay, I saw something happen with the microphone.
It looks like it's live, but okay, should we go to some of our maybe?
Sure, let's see what we have there.
Okay, so just looking down. All right, so someone has asked the question. It's been said that multiple times that there are no plans. However, I've seen it mentioned BCIT Marina campus has also recently sold for $32 million. Given the timing, does this have correlation to the future development plans?
Again, I can honestly say no. I initiated the assessment to budget for repairs for next year. So, it's got no correlation, and emphatically I can say no, it's not the case.
Okay. Why can't the boat sheds not be temporarily relocated or moored in place while the repairs are taking place? Why will they not be allowed to return? Where do you expect boat sheds to go given the absence of any available moorage?
So we are reaching out to some of our neighbors, and we are reaching out to a number of people who might be able to support us in this. So again, we don't know what the marina is going to look like. We have to understand that the marina is 50 years old, and the surface under the water have changed in the past 50 years. We don't know what it looks like, and the risk for boat sheds, etc. So we just don't have those answers. So I cannot commit to anything. However, we are working profusely on our side to identify places. We're not simply putting our hands up and say, remove your boat shed. We are looking how we can accommodate. We are talking to people around us to see how they can assist. In some cases, it might even be dry land storage. We don't know. But we are certainly talking, and we have engaged a number of people, yet we just haven't got a good answer for you tonight. And that's why I say we will, in future, as we know, as we get more information, we will form those small working groups, collaborate. We really want to do this together. We've got no sinister agenda, so we really want to support all our tenants and our residents, that we have a good outcome in the end.
Okay, thank you, Gary. We're going to go to Mike Sherman next, who I think has his hand up.
Hi, first of all, I appreciate the accommodations that it sounds like are going to be made to those that have are currently residing in the marina. They've made huge investments in those assets, which would go to nothing if they weren't allowed to remain. I myself have also made investments, and I do have accommodation in my boat shed. I'm not currently living in it, but my father is there when he comes up from Arizona. He's 80 years old, and he is planning to retire here, and he was planning to retire in that boat shed. And I'm wondering if there will be any accommodations made for people that have made significant investments in assets that were meant and intended to be able to be lived in, but don't meet your stated requirement that somebody is living in them currently.
Again, Mike, that's our desire, that we can come back with a good answer for you. I can't give you your answer because it's based on the future assessment, what we can do with the marina. If there's living there on a from time to time basis and it's got a living, it's going nowhere. But the long term, we will have to determine once we've completed our assessment. And it will be disingenuous for me to say anything different. The answer will remain the same. We don't know what we're going to find, and we will work with every single person. And we understand, we recognize there's a lot of investment into these boat sheds. We understand there's a lot of expensive boats as well. People invest and they live on them. It becomes their homes. So that is very much front and center to our approach to how we're going. It's so early in the process that we understood that there's going to be sadness and frustration, and we recognize we're coming here with very little answers. And the reason we're doing that, Mike, is because we wanted to share that information with as soon as possible. We had that people understand, and that these questions, how do we start putting up work groups, etc. So that's unfortunately as clear as I can be on this. We will work on this. It's absolutely part of our goal and our scope that we're going to see what does the future look like. But we can't give you that answer at this moment in time.
May I also ask, as part of our merge fees, we've been paying maintenance expenses, and I understand that you had a professional assessment. I'm glad that you had that. I of course want the marina to be safe. However, we have not seen a lot of maintenance on those many years, and the condition of them I don't think required an expert. I think you visually see it looking down those docks. If anyone's ever walked them, you can determine it. In the past, other docks have been replaced without closing down the marina. They did the front area when they added the float home, did dock A. Why in this case is it determined that it is impossible to be able to do that in a phased way, and the requirement to close down the marina in order to address the very important safety concerns that you've spoken to?
Part of the sectional, there's, and this is going to be a short answer, there's been a lot of changes since the marina was built and established. So there's a lot of things that have changed around the marina. Things we also have to take in consideration is climate change, the rising oceans, various things that we have to consider. What we don't know is, so the currents since 50 years ago to now has changed. So we need to be responsible and go through this pain and then determine how it's going to do to replace it, take something out and putting it back. That has been a recommendation from the assessor that that's not going to be possible. We have to really look at how it is structured. We might have to change the configuration of the full marina. So there's a number of questions, again, that is scientific. It's the engineers and the professionals. They will have to determine how this is going to be possible. But it's not as simple. And I know this is a question we've had a number of times, is why can't we just take it out and put something new? Because things have changed over time. And that is partly contributing to the decay under the water. I agree with you. I saw on top myself the superficial state of the marina, and that's why we called for an assessment, because that's what it looks like on top. We had to wonder what it looked like under, and that was where the feedback came from.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike, for that question. Thank you for that, Gary. I think we literally have time for maybe one more quick question. Mike Sherman.
Oh, we have Michael Brown back. I see his camera's on now, and we did try to bring him on earlier.
Okay.
I know he was waiting for a very long time, so I'm going to allow.
All right, so Michael Brown, and then
welcome
we're
back.
at
Thank
time.
you, Michael. Okay.
Michael, you made it in there just in the nick of time.
Okay, just a moment. Just gonna. Okay, I think you can unmute yourself now, Michael.
Oh, we're still not getting you.
If you hit, I
That's so
have
weird.
your mic is enabled right now.
Oh, we've completely lost him. Let's see.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay. Well, I think we are literally at time. So if we get him back in the next few seconds. No. All right. Okay. So we have questions, a lot of repeat questions, I will say, in our Q&A chat box, which is open. I know that there are media on this call this evening, and our priority was the residents and the tenants. So we apologize that we did not address media questions. Media, you are more than welcome to email us at media@edgeki.com. A lot of you have my contact information. Please don't hesitate to reach out. We have had 386, sometimes 390 people on this call. So I just want to say thank you so much to all of you. I know that this is a really important thing that's happening in your lives. So we can see that just from the amount of you that have come here this evening and taken part in this call. This is not the last conversation. You can email. Like Gary said, there will be meetings that are going to take place. There's conversations that are going to happen. But I just want to say on behalf of Edgeki and all of the team at the marina and everyone on the call this evening that is attending, thank you so much for your patience. And we look forward to continuing this conversation with you over the coming weeks and months. So take care, everybody. Thank you so much. Good night.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Joy.